All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, Rich Cimini of ESPN was over on his podcast talking about how he thinks that Darren Mougey is going to be trading for a guard, right, in lieu of the AVT injury. As we all know, he's done for the season. Torn tricep, 3 season-ending injuries, and he's still on his rookie deal. Tough blow. But the positive is that we actually have a solution for a short-term fix here, which is Olu at left tackle, John Simpson at left guard, Josh Myers stepping in at center, Tippmann bouncing over to right guard, and then, of course, Membu at right tackle. So, that starting lineup, is it the best in football? No. You got great offensive lines out there. Tampa Bay Bucks, Buffalo Bills, Detroit Lions. Like, there are some Philadelphia Eagles, some very, very talented offensive lines, right? Obviously. The Jets are not in that group. But I don't think that group is bad, right? I really don't, I'm not looking at that group saying this thing is going to be a liability. Not really. I think it's just going to be somewhere in the middle of the road, right? It's somewhere middle of the pack. Not great, not elite, not terrible, not horrible, right? Not this liability, but good enough to win games, good enough to protect Justin Fields, good enough to open up run holes, for these great running backs that the Jets possess. So that's a strength right off the bat. And so to hear Rich Cimini say, okay, you know what, Darren Mougey could pretend, Cimini feels as though that Mougey is going to be trading for a guard. I have a couple of questions. Number one, I think if you were to acquire a guard, you're going to be acquiring a backup. Who's trading away a starting caliber guard in the first month of the season? That's something that maybe it would pop up around the trade deadline. So the quality of the player that you're getting back in return is not really something that you're not going to be acquiring this top 20 guard. And if you're not going to be acquiring this top end guard, why trade away a draft pick, right? Why not promote someone from the practice squad? Because, again, if we're going to be trading away a draft pick, let's just call it a day 3 selection for a backup guard in the event that maybe John Simpson gets hurt or, for whatever reason, Joe Tippmann's terrible at right guard. Now we have this option that we can plug in, but it comes at the cost of a draft pick, which is a free young player. And it sucks because we're already entering the 2026 draft class, a very good class right now. But for me, at least, it's a class that I'm very excited about. It's there's so many players I love at safety, at defensive end, at quarterback. There's a lot of players that I really, really like. So we don't have a 3rd round pick. We've already had a couple of, different pick swaps and whatnot. One pick did go to Minnesota for the Harrison Phillips deal. Are we really in a position to trade another draft pick? When I'm thinking about this Jets team, we are top heavy. We have superstars, Quinnen, Quincy, Gardner, Garrett. I like a lot of these offensive linemen, right? Of course, the running back room is just a stacked unit. But I think really the issues, if you're just looking at the pure starting lineup, names on paper, the Jets are freaking stacked. We have a lot of really good players. We have a lot of solutions everywhere. Corners, linebackers, defensive line now with Harrison Phillips and Jermaine Johnson coming back from the Achilles. But the problem with this team, I think, is depth. If Garrett Wilson gets hurt, are the Jets screwed at wide receiver? If Cisco gets hurt, what is the plan at safety? Tony Adam, it's all of a sudden, Jamie Sherwood has an injury. We're a very, very, very thin team, and very thin teams need draft capital because you're not going to hit the free agency block and, start spending all your free agency dollars on backups. That's what the draft is for, to get in these players at a very cheap price, and you then can develop them. The problem is the Jets haven't, this is debatable, but are they picking the right players to begin with, Joe Douglas, or are they not developing these players, Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich, Nathaniel Hackett, or a combination of both? So that's been the main issue, why I think the Jets just don't have any depth. 2nd round picks are just gone. 3rd round picks are just gone. 4th round picks, they're just not really here. And whenever you're, going through draft after draft after draft, and you're never getting any value in the middle rounds, the only time you're ever kind of feeling like the team is getting an impactful piece is a 1st round pick. But, this is the NFL here. We got to expect more from these general managers. The point is, The Jets just don't really have a lot of depth. So is trading another draft pick for a guard who is not going to be coming in as the starting guard a bit of a reach? And I think the answer is yes. I don't want to trade another draft pick here. I don't, even if it's, a 6th round pick. It's just like, I mean, how many draft picks are we? I don't want to enter next year's class with like 4 picks, because again, it just feels like a very short term. Like a draft pick is a long term vision. It's a long term plan, no matter what round you're talking about. And if you trade that player for a backup guard, chances are he's not on a multi-year contract, so you're going to have to replace that player anyway or try to re-sign him. The only way I would feel comfortable with, parting ways with the draft pick in exchange for a guard is if a couple things happen. Number one, we have another injury. John Simpson gets hurt, and Cimini did talk about him being hurt in training camp and dealing with the back injury, and that's not, this perfect situation, right? So if maybe there's a problem that stems there, John Simpson's hurt and is going to miss 5 weeks. Okay, now let's maybe reassess. Or Joe Tippmann is dealing with something and he can't go. But behind those two guys, I mean, we do have Xavier Newman. Is he playable? I think the answer is yeah. I personally like a couple of the guards on the practice squad. I know that might be a reach, but I don't feel very good about acquiring a player on a 1-year deal. Again, because I don't want to have to now replace that player once free agency opens up. And granted, the Jets do have a lot of cap space, but I just don't really like that plan of attack. So the other big question is AVT's long-term plan with the Jets. If I'm Darren Mougey and I'm looking at AVT and I don't see him here for the long term, like I'm not going to re-sign this player, and John Simpson gets hurt, okay, now the conversation about trading away maybe even a mid-round pick for a guard who's on a multi-year deal to come in and start now and next year, that makes a lot more sense. But right now, a couple days before the Steeler game, week 1, first off, are GMs even looking to move good quality offensive linemen before, as every team is perfectly healthy? Normally, like, these opposing GMs kind of want to wait a little bit, right? What happens if our guy gets hurt? Pick a random team, Indianapolis Colts, right? We got to protect Daniel Jones this season. Shane Steichen coaching for his job. Why are we going to trade the Jets a good quality offensive lineman, whether they're a starter or a backup? But the Jets view him as an upgrade, obviously, because why trade for a downgrade? Why move that player? What happens if we're wrapping up the week 2 matchup and our starting guard has a season-ending injury? AVT just had one in a practice. So, I don't know. It just, to me, doesn't really make a ton of sense. I think right now we're okay. Myers, center, cool. He has the working experience with Justin Fields. He has a lot of starts under his belt. It's not like he was on these tanking teams. No, he was on Green Bay, right? Won a lot of games, seen what winning looks like. He's participated in a lot of big games. He's received good coaching. And again, has that experience with Justin Fields. I like that. I think that's very good and comforting for a quarterback when he can look at the center position and say, you know what, I know exactly what I'm getting from this player here. And then if Tippmann slips over to guard, which, I mean, you can argue Tippmann has a better body type for guard anyway. That's why I think this is such a big big debate back and forth. Because, like, you look at how Tippmann is built, you could slide him right into guard, and, like, that is great size for a guard, but for center, maybe it's a little too big. And then you throw on top of it the high snap issue. So, yeah, I think short term we're okay. I think, freak situation or another injury, something pops up, boom, Xavier Newman, he slides in a guard. And then I think from that point, if you have another injury, which I just feel like is unlikely, but hey, it's the Jets, who knows, then we can talk about either promoting a practice squad player or, potentially trading for a starting caliber guard. Now, I do think there is some criteria that needs to be met. Number one, of course, this player has to be considered, as an upgrade. But number two, they have to be on a multi-year deal for me. I'm not trading away a draft pick, which is, in other words, a 4-year deal for someone who's going to be an expiring contract. AVT's an expiring contract, and he's done all season. John Simpson, last year of his contract. Is Josh Myers on a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal? I think it might be a 1-year deal. But in any case, the Jets have a lot of holes at the guard position when we're looking ahead to free agency, which is, part of the big, it was a point that we argued in the defensive drafting Armand Membu, right? Because if you don't address right tackle, they didn't address right tackle in free agency. If you don't address right tackle in the first round or two of the NFL draft, now you're looking at replacing left guard, and right tackle, which is a lot to put on a general manager's plate to solve all those issues in one off season. I mean, Joe Douglas was here for 6 years, and it took him all 6 years to figure out the offensive line. So yeah, I think, again, multi-year contract, someone who can come in and we at least have the security. Hey, he's going to come in, play, and be an effective player for us this season. Cool. And then number two, he's going to be here next year, and he's going to be actually a part of this build that the Jets are, allowing to grow. I'm not going to say pointless, because this is football, anything can happen. But if I'm the general manager, I'm not trading away a draft pick when I feel good about the starting lineup right now. I feel good about the backup position right now in Xavier Newman. And I don't even know the quality of guard that I'm going to be getting back. And then we take a look at the contract. Chances are, if a team's letting a guy go, he's not on a 2-3-year deal. He's probably on a 1-year expiring deal. And so once the offseason hits, I have to re-sign that player anyway, along with figuring out the other offensive line positions. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Maybe I'm dead wrong, right? Maybe you prefer to just say, hey, you know what? Let's just dump the day 3 pick, get a guard in the building, play it safe. It's going to help the run game. It's going to help the quarterback, Justin Fields, and it's going to also send a good message to the locker room. Like, hey, we're about winning games. We're serious here. We're not just going to, cross our fingers and hope for stuff. No, we're going to actually go out and make it happen. Be assertive. Be proactive in trying to fix these holes. So, again, anyway, thanks so much. Enjoy your Friday. And as always, go Jets.